to the power of my mind, and in this power I'm set free. Oh, life can be good. Oh, life can be sweet. Oh, life can be good, and it's all up to me. I'm waking up to the power of my mind. I'm waking up to me. I'm waking up to the power of my mind, and in this power I'm set free. And in this power I'm set free. And in this power I'm set free. Yay! Next is Oh What a Beautiful Morning with our special Modesto words. It's a bright golden day in Modesto. It's a bright golden day in Modesto. Our spirits are high as an elephant's eye, and I bet we could get them clear up to the sky. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a wonderful feeling. Everything's going God's way. All the sounds of the earth are like music. All the sounds of the earth are like music. They chime in my ear that God's kingdom is here. The moment we let go of worries and fear. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a wonderful feeling. Everything's going God's way. Oh, what a beautiful day. Lovely. Okay, we're going to join hands and sing the Lord's Prayer. So if you would arrange yourselves accordingly, that would be wonderful. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Thank you. You can have a seat, and I do believe our very own Reverend Cindy is going to come up and tell us what's going on.
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? Woo! Are y'all wet? Welcome to Modesto, Reverend Sheila. We got a text last night from two of our girlfriends who were planning on coming up from Sacramento, or down from Sacramento. And they went, "We're not feeling the weather." And so we were hoping that they would take Sheila back with them so I wouldn't have to drive there and back because she's got to be home in Sacramento tonight. I'm like, really? Really, girls? Who do you think's bringing Sheila to Sacramento this afternoon? And they said, well, you have more, what's than I do. We do.
Remember moving a reverend that way.
Yeah. There you go. So is anybody here that is new to our community? And I already know the answer to that question because I see Molly's mom. Is that your mom here? Welcome to our community. We have a welcome packet for you. And we are thrilled that you have come to share this time with us, and welcome from our hearts to yours. What else is going on? May, still doing May, still doing the month of power. We're still wearing purple because we can. Except for some of us who didn't do that. June 16th is our Father's Day barbecue. And we are partnering with Ragin' Cajun Kitchen, offering delicious Southern barbecue. So there are options for pulled pork, and there are a limited number of chicken. We will be selling tickets starting next week. If you must have chicken, I highly recommend you get your ticket next week because once chicken sells out, okay? They are $12. It starts 11 o'clock, and it's kind of a drive-through. So we will be needing a few volunteers to help take tickets, pass out, help, deliver the meals and things like that. So for your $12, you get either chicken or pulled pork, potato salad, baked beans, and garlic bread. The board has tasted the food, some of us more than once, and we deemed it appropriate. And lovely. So this is a fundraiser for Unity of Modesto, and Reverend Sharon is heading up all the goodies, and she's the volunteer, so you want to see her regarding any volunteer things you're willing to do, and for purchasing advance tickets, and they go on sale next Sunday. So share the information with everybody you know, because it's not just a Unity of Modesto thing. It's an everybody thing. Everybody can come, okay? Food closet. We are blessed that we can share our abundance with those who have a need. And always we are looking for protein, high-quality proteins, canned foods, things that can be reheated. Occasionally we have need for personal items. Joni, do you have any special needs at this point? Okay.
But canned veggies are on sale at Kmart right now for 79 cents a can.
There you go. Head to Saymart.
Always use those.
Yes. So canned vegetables, canned meats, all those kinds of things. Things that are easy for people to prepare. We are founded on prayer here in Modesto and Unity as a community. And so our prayer pilgrims with us this morning are Reverend Nancy, because she's looking for her stole. Reverend Margaret. Everybody's a reverend. We're just ordaining everybody today. And so if you are in need of prayer, remember those of you who are in the abundance, absolute abundance, what your homework was? Do you remember? Remember that you're supposed to either call Silent Unity or pray with a prayer chaplain after service today. And there is a board meeting today, board people. It's going to be quick because I have to get Reverend Sheila to SAC. So, as we settle into service, that's the announcements for the day. Short ones, I think. Yeah, nothing on the back. So our daily word for today is gratitude. Gratitude. Breathe that in. In absolute abundance, we've been practicing a lot of gratitude, sharing gratitude with each other And in this church, we are so grateful for the abundance that comes into us. So the affirmation is, I am gratefully and wonderfully blessed. Henry David Thoreau wrote, I am grateful for what I am and what I have. My thanksgiving is perpetual. An attitude of thankfulness serves me well when I consider the many blessings for which I am grateful. In a quiet moment, I open mind and heart to experience the magnificence and magnitude of all that God is. I consciously know that I am grateful for divine presence in my life. Because of this, I give thanks in advance for the many possibilities and opportunities before me. Gratitude is the heart's response to life's infinite blessings. My gratitude expresses as peace, love, and joy. With anticipation and appreciation for future blessings, I affirm I am gratefully and wonderfully blessed. From Psalm 139, chapter 14, verse 14, I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And our affirmation for the month is, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Oh, Brian, hello. There we go. I have the power to create my world. One more time. I have the power to create my world. And Nancy, could you bring the prayer box for us?
We know the power of prayer. We're looking at that energy of power this month, and there is so much power in prayer. And it's especially powerful when we say it with a feeling of gratitude. So we're going to join together this morning and know that there is only one energy in the universe. Call it what we may: power, love, healing. It's in, through, and around all of us, in every cell, every atom, molecule, teeny tiny thing, and big too. And it's working always in one direction for healing, whatever that looks like. So the prayers that we've placed in here, the people that we have in our hearts and minds, are being healed right now with the power of prayer and the power of God. And that brings us to a point of feeling so grateful, so very grateful for everything in our life and all our experiences and all these healings, that we say, thank you, thank you, thank you all day long. And so it is. Amen.
So this morning, it's not me. I'm not speaking today. It is Reverend Sheila. So for those of you who are not aware of who Reverend Sheila is, she has been my teacher since, 2005, something like that. My coach, my friend, my mentor, mostly my friend, but all of those things and more. She's auntie to the dogs, who adore her beyond measure. And so she is with us today to share her talk, A Long Journey Home, which is based on the book that she wrote, and she will be signing books in the bookstore after service. And she came in to do a workshop. How many were in the workshop this weekend? How many of you were exhausted? And we had an interesting experience. All of her electronics died. Every single device that she had, her phone went dead. She has a laptop and a tablet. Both of them went dead. And I had to do the workshop because she can't see it without her laptop. So miraculously, we got home last night and fired up all the electronics, and all but one came on. So we look at that as divine order. absolute divine order. So Sheila will be doing the meditation for you today and the talk, and I know that you will thoroughly enjoy my sister Sheila, who is my sister from my heart and always will be. And so welcome Reverend Sheila with a round of applause, please.
So we'll prepare for her meditation with a song. Take my hand and be still for a moment. Father, bless this time we share. Let the Spirit flow in this moment. Fill our hearts with love and care. Take my hand and be still for a moment. Father, bless this time we share. Let the Spirit flow in this moment. Fill our hearts with love and care.
Invite you now to become comfortable in your chairs. Just allow the chair to support you. Feet flat on the floor, and attempt to keep your spine correct so that that spiritual energy can just move easily and effortlessly up and down the spine. And if you feel comfortable in doing so, I invite you to close your eyes and let us shut out any visual distractions, turning within to where we see truly. And begin breathing in and out through the heart. The heart is where we find that spirit of the living God. For God is not dead. God lives within us perpetually in the home of the heart. And it's not a long journey. It's simply from the head to the heart. We can be at home. And that is where we are right now. At home in our hearts. And just breathe in and out. In and out. Feeling that sacred, loving energy filling our very being. Feeling that connection of perfection with God. And with all of the powerful and positive and perpetual energy of the universe, we are at one with it right now. It is always listening for our deepest desire, to fulfill our needs, to lead us, to guide us, to direct us, that we may follow God's will for our lives. Spirit of the living God, fall upon me. Fill me, lead me, guide me, direct me. I surrender now for a time with you in the silence, that you may tell me what you would have me do, where you would have me go, what you would have me say, and to whom I am willing to do your will. Just tell me in a way that I will understand in the silence. As we prepare to return to this outer world, we know that you have heard our prayer, dear God. And as we step into our lives, we will listen at the doorway of our hearts, that we might receive your guidance and your direction. We know that you always guide us and direct us. And we ask that you teach us how to hear you, how to recognize your voice. For it is our greatest desire to do your will in this world and in our lives today. So we thank you in advance for what we know you have already given us. In the name and after the loving nature of our elder brother, way-shower, and master teacher, Jesus the Christ, we say together, Amen. And so it is. Well, this morning I am going to be talking to you about the long journey home. And this is about the prodigal son. And his awakening as an example of our own journey and the directions we take in our awakening. And understanding what helps us to know the way and to fulfill God's will for our journey. And so I would ask Reverend Cindy to read the parable of the prodigal son for us this morning.
So Jesus continued. There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, "Father, give me my share of my estate." So he divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed the pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. When he came to his senses, he said, "How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death? I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants.' So he got up and went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. The son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son.' But the father said to his servants, 'Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let us have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found.' So they began to celebrate. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked him what was going on. 'Your brother has come,' he replied, 'and your father has killed the fatted calf because he has him back safe and sound.' The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, 'Look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours who has squandered your property with prostitutes comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him.' 'My son,' the father said, 'you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found.'"
Thank you, Reverend Cindy. So that is a very powerful story. But it doesn't come alive for us until we personalize it, until we understand what Spirit is trying to tell us in the analogies within this parable. First of all, a parable, the word parable comes from a Latin word parabola, which means to compare. And what a parable does is it takes something that you are familiar with and to help you understand something you're not familiar with. So it makes a comparison for you. And so this parable is using the story of this prodigal son to help us understand what it means and what to do and how to return when we in our error consciousness leaves the home of God within us, when we walk away from our spiritual relationship with God, when we lose faith in our lives, when we become disconnected with that divine part of us. And so it's meant to show us what all this is about and to help us understand that it is just as, in fact, it's easier to get back to God than it was to walk away from God. Are you with me? Yeah, okay. So let's look at some metaphysics around this. And metaphysics is simply the spiritual meaning of key words within this story to help us more easily connected to our lives. It's nice to hear about the story and, really cool, but many times we'll say, okay, but what does that have to do with me? So I'm going to tell you what it has to do with you. So the younger son represents that immature and unawakened aspect of us that is not yet open to its spiritual nature, and it believes that the things outside are what fulfills it. It believes it is fulfilled by the things of the world, rather than understanding that there is a divine nature within it that fulfills us to the highest degree and the highest possibility, and will lead and guide and direct us to fulfilling our purpose for being on this planet right here and right now. Are you with me? Okay. Okay. The journey of the younger son represents the journey from mental consciousness to the awakening of the territory of the divine within the heart. And on this journey, the younger son believes that there is something it is not getting at home. How many of you ever had that growing up? Tell the truth. They say, tell the truth, shame the devil. And so we leave what we know, we leave our comfort, we leave the perfection that we're in or the imperfection that we're in, and we begin to move here and there believing that we can find what we need and find who we are out here. But understand that in the spiritual sense, there's no out there, only in here, in here. So we go far from home, we go to the far country. And so metaphysically, the far country represents anything that takes us out of our divine truth. Anything that takes us away from our close connection with the divine. Okay? So he goes into the far country, right? And he wastes all of the inheritance. I wouldn't have given it to him, but that's just me. Because, I would have worked for it, so I wouldn't have given it to him. But the father, I guess, in his wisdom, wanted to teach him a lesson. Very expensive lesson, but he taught him. But he was so excited, yet so undisciplined, that he went wild. I'm sorry, I did the same thing when I left home, okay? How many of you went wild? Yeah, okay. Wasn't by myself. So, So, that was kind of a natural thing because he was immature, age-wise and consciousness-wise. Suddenly, he finds himself feeding the pigs. What that metaphysically means is we find ourselves at the deepest, darkest pain. We find ourselves in an abyss of pain and suffering. But the interesting thing was, he came to himself, as they say, which means he awakened. He got some sense. And he realized that he had been living in abundance, that all of the servants who waited on him and the beautiful home he lived in and the fabulous robes that he wore and so forth, that he was dissatisfied and discontent with what was actually heaven. But there had to be something else because he had not experienced anything else. Are you with me? Do you understand that? Yeah. So he had to go check it out. Well, he checked it out. Here he is. In the place with the pigs, wishing, he's so hungry, he's wishing that he could eat of the pods that they have given him to feed to the pigs. And remembering the wonderful food that he ate in his father's house. So he comes to himself. It means he wakes up. And he returns home to ask his father to hire him as one of his servants. Now, I have to give him some credit. Because, most teenagers that I know come back home and, give me my room and give me some money and let me get back to my life before. But he knew that he had, and I'll use this term simply because it's in he had sinned against his father. In other words, he had lost the awareness of the good that was there in his life already. And he went back, and when he was far off, his father saw him and asked the servants to begin to prepare a feast for him. And the robe, the slippers, the feast, the fatted calf, all of that represents the abundance that God always has ready for us. And that God will prepare and set before us the moment we come home. And so the overall meaning of this parable is that the providence, the prosperity, the perfection that we desire, that we are constantly seeking out here is not out there, my beloveds. It never has been and never will be. The greatness for your life, all of the good that you could ever need, require, and desire is right here. We are the channel for that. All we have to do is ask. That is all we have to do. It's there, waiting for us. And so when he came, his father embraced him, and he apologized. And he said, I'll work for you as one of your servants. He says, we are rejoicing. You are my son. And you are home. And of course, the other son who had stayed and worked so hard and been so faithful, he was a little PO'd. And his father said, but you are good. You, everything I own is yours. Everything I have is yours. You are my son. He said, but we must celebrate that your brother has come home. Now, I can relate to this because when my daughter turned 16, she ran away from home in New York City. Came back 6 years later in a coma. And so my first sight of her after she came back was in a hospital bed in New Jersey. And over her bed, one of the ministers, friends of mine in the New Jersey area, had put the prayer for protection by her bed. And when I walked into the room, there was a light, like an aura around her bed. It was glowing. And I walked over to her bed. I leaned over and kissed her and said, Mommy's here, and she came out of the coma. The full story is in the book, The Long Journey Home. But that was my prodigal daughter. That was my prodigal daughter. And I greeted her and brought her back. She went through many, many months of therapy and so forth, learning to walk and to talk and to be able to feed herself again. And it was a long journey together. But I got her back. And from that point in time, she began to embrace the things that she ran from. She stepped back into unity she grew up in unity, with all her heart, with just full abandon, embracing the teachings, the classes. This was her awaken. You know, she came to herself and realized there was no guarantee that I would survive that accident or that I would ever wake up. But I'm here and I'm understanding now that I had it good before. And she delved into it all with abandon, taking all of the classes. It was like that, the prodigal son, the celebrations, the excitement, the feasting. And now my daughter has a master's degree. She came back and didn't even have her high school diploma. And now she has a master's degree in marriage and family therapy. She has to do her internship so that she can start to practice. My beloveds, we can always go home. We can always go home. God is standing there with open arms, welcoming you home, calling you home, saying, my door is always open to you, that there is nothing that you can do that is so terrible that I will not embrace you and give you the robe and the slippers and the feast. There is nothing that you can do. There is nothing that you can say or any behavior that can take place within you to keep God from saying, come, my beloved child, welcome home. Because you will always be God's beloved. You can turn away many times, but God never leaves that front door looking for you. In the parable, the father was constantly looking. And that is so powerful. God is expecting you. Even if you haven't shown up recently, God is expecting you. And so I want to invite you today to look at any place in your life where you may be still away from home. Maybe there's still another step being called for. Maybe you're waiting to come out of the coma. Maybe you're in a coma and haven't awakened. Know that you are always welcome in the home of God. And you can cast aside any of the criticism, the condemnations, or the judgments that you have laid upon yourself. And I'm emphasizing that because God does not criticize, judge, or condemn you, my beloveds. God only sees you as whole and perfect as you were created. And so the belief that we are unworthy is an illusion. And so, what do? When we're down, the first thing that we do is get up. Get up. In other words, raise our minds above whatever the great challenge is that has us down there, believing that maybe God left us, maybe God deserted us, or maybe we are not worthy to call upon God to ask for help. Just get up. And ask. The next ask. Ask. What would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say? And to whom? I'm willing to do your will. Just tell me in a way that I will understand. That's from the Course in Miracles. Those simple words. And when we sit back in that heart and we wait upon the answer, and we allow ourselves to be open and receptive, to be already always listening, in that perfect moment, the message will come. It may come in a whisper. It may come in a cosmic 2x4. It may come with a tap on the shoulder. It may come with a terrible car accident and being in a coma. But it will come. Move forward. Take a step. Take that first step toward your good. You know, if you were not at a Unity church, go to a Unity church. Go to a church. Go to someone who will listen and hear the desires of your heart. And then expect. Expect. See, with a Father like God, we can expect it. We don't have to hope for it. We can expect it. I know it's mine. Because God told me it was mine. So it is mine. So I expect it. And be grateful in advance. Thank you, God, in advance, for I know you have already heard me and that everything is in the works right here, right now. My daughter had thousands of people in Unity praying for her. And when I walked in that room, she came out of the coma. So today I'm asking you, if you are in a coma, I don't mean a real one, but you know what I mean, right? If there is somewhere where you have lost sight of your perfection, your abundance, your good, your wholeness, turn around and go home. Go into the heart. Go into the heart. Practice heart breathing. Breathe in and out through the heart. And when you feel that sense of relaxation and peace, ask God to lead, guide, and direct you to get you back home. And so I ask you to affirm with me, I am always perfectly restored to the home of my heart. Together, I am always perfectly restored to the home of my heart. Again, I am always perfectly restored to the home of my heart. And once more, I am always perfectly restored to the home of my heart. Thank you so much.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let Spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and true and free as I continue walking in the mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am kinder every moment, every day. And I am kinder every moment, every day.
It is time for our love offering. So if you take your love offering in your hand with gratitude in advance, knowing that it is your gift to give from the heart to the world. And together we say our offering statement. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
And please join me in singing What Is Mine to Give. What is mine to give? What is mine to do? All I want is to share myself with you. So I stand here asking, what can I do? What is mine to give? I give it to you. What is mine to give? What is mine to do? All I want is to share myself with you. So I stand here asking, what can I do? What is mine to give? I give it to you.
As we check into our heart, we always know what is ours to give. And we ask ourselves with great gratitude, what is it that is mine to give? What is my time? What is my treasure? What is my talent? And we are all grateful for all the gifts that we show up with, because that is what is ours to give. It's to share our gifts with each other. So as we receive these tithes and these love offerings, we know that they are given from the heart, and we are grateful. And together we say, and so it is, and amen.
So we're going to close the service now by joining hands in singing the peace song, followed with the prayer for protection. So if you would arrange yourselves. I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.